Hello friends, thank you for joining me for another video, and if you're watching this in recent time, happy 2022. And this time is actually the perfect time to discuss with you, what is your definition of health? Because with the new year, many people are searching for better health. They might have a goal or a resolution to be more healthy, but what does that mean, right? You can't achieve it unless you know what it actually is. And interestingly, the concept of health has actually changed for healthcare throughout the years. And what I want to do in this video is kind of explore this concept of health in medicine and in healthcare. I want to explain why there is a bit of a mismatch between how it's viewed and how it's managed with conventional treatment. And I also want to discuss the concept of wellness, which embraces many forms of health from an integrative perspective. As you're kind of thinking about this concept of health, I'd love for you to see if it maybe alters how you view health and wellness, and even better, I'd love for you to share if your viewpoint was altered or if it's completely different from what I'm saying or what other people's definition is and how that best serves you. So let's get started. So there's been a changing definition of health and healthcare throughout the years, as I said, and there's been a great article on Medscape News today when I looked up. I was researching, what is health, looking at all these different scientific journals, and I ran into this article, and it went through the different definitions and how it's changed. First of all, in broadest terms, the word health is a state of complete emotional and physical well-being, and it said that healthcare exists to help people maintain the optimal state of health. Now, interestingly, the World Health Organization in 1948 defined health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely the absence of disease. And then in '86, they clarified this and said it's a resource for everyday life, not the objective of living, and that it's a positive aspect emphasizing social and personal resources, as well as physical capacities. So this means that throughout all of the different definitions, and my article goes into some more definitions and more details if you're interested in that goes with this video, and I will, if you're not watching it on my website, why not? Go to my website. But if you are on YouTube or one of my social media, I will put a link in the video description for you to get access to that. But anyways, weaved in all of these different explanations of what health is that it is more than the absence of disease or even symptom relief. What the WHO, right, the World Health Organization, views health as a resource for living, not as an objective of it, is a compelling statement, right? Because being in sound health allows one to live their values and passions and enhances their social connections more fully. Now, this perspective is something I totally jive with because it is in very much alignment with integrative and naturopathic medicine, as well as health at every size, that movement, which I am also a proponent of. Because both of these are meant to help one obtain better health and lifestyle, but that's not the means to an end. It's to actually support them in enhancing their life, enhancing what their values and passions are, so that they aren't weighed down by bodily symptoms that can hold them back, especially in diet culture where sometimes diet and lifestyle can actually be more of a burden, right? If someone is obsessively focusing on what to eat or becoming obsessed about body size, that might actually deteriorate their life. So this whole concept of health and using it as a resource versus as an end goal, I think is very interesting. And I think, unfortunately, not the message that we're getting in more modern times and in modern medicine. Now, the most conventional medicine will define two major types of health, which are physical health and mental health, which is fine. But if you've watched my previous videos, there's also spiritual and religious health, where there's like a slash in between, because some people can be religious and spiritual, or spiritual not religious, or religious not spiritual. But anyways, both of these are important for optimal wellness because they impact treatment outcomes and they influence physical and mental health and enhance stress resiliency. And if you want to learn more about that, either check out the other videos I did, or in that article, the article that accompanied this video, there'll be links there. So again, we're looking at this whole broader concept of health. Already we're kind of seeing that these types of health are a little bit too narrow, right? It's not looking as fully as we could be into what health is. And unfortunately, for those practicing health in current healthcare system and conventional medicine, it seems to be that the aim is still focused on suppressing the symptoms of a disease versus how to enhance life, how to use health as a resource. I mean, in my other videos I've said, when's the last time your doctor asked you about your spiritual health? When's the last time your doctor asked you or had a long conversation about your relationships or different aspects of your life? Unfortunately, the way that medicine is set up is very mechanistic, and it isn't so much based on the human element as well as it could be. Now, this is changing, and I'm not saying that doctors are doing anything wrong. This is definitely needed. We need to address the physical body and definitely keep people out of major emergencies. But we also need this integration too. And this is really cool that integrative medicine is becoming more popular. It is entering more mainstream. And we're seeing that our standard way of managing diseases is not optimizing longevity or quality of life. It's not making it a better resource. It might be buying time, but it might be extending life, but it isn't necessarily increasing the quality of life. And that is what the definition of health really is. The tools to get there may not be the optimal way that we're achieving it, and our mindset might be off on how to do that. So if we look at the different factors that influence health, we look at a person's social, economic, physical environment, their own genetics, and their innate temperament as things that influence their health status. And these are all important because socioeconomic status and social connections are highly influential in overall mortality, disease risk, and even emotional well-being. These factors can be even more influential than diet and lifestyle in certain instances. And we've seen that with the world situation from 2020 and continuing on, hopefully not too much longer, but definitely into this year, in which socio and economic status, race, ethnicity, and healthcare access are definitely linked to vulnerability of disease and contracting an infection. So I want to take a step back first before I continue. So we've looked at what the definition of health is. We looked at that it can be in a broad definition of how can I become more resourceful to enjoy my life, and which of these factors, whether it be socioeconomic, whether it be looking at the surrounding environment, do I have control over, can I change, and am I implementing all different types of health in my definition? Am I looking at my mental health as well as my physical health? Am I incorporating spiritual health in there? If we embrace all of these factors, we come to the concept of wellness, right? Because they're kind of all hanging on different trees per se. But the concept of wellness kind of takes all these concepts and joins them together. And it believes that the best way to maintain health is to preserve it through a lifestyle rather than waiting for sickness or disease to come, right? And it describes a continuous state of enhanced well-being. That's what wellness is, according to Medical News Today, which defined it. And the WHO defines wellness as the optimal state of health of individuals and groups, and their two focal concerns: the realization of the fullest potential of an individual physically, psychologically, socially, spiritually, and economically, and the fulfillment of one's roles and expectations in the family, community, place of worship, and other settings. How cool is that? That is very inclusive. So maybe kind of this argument about what health is, what it isn't, are we doing it right, really should be a discussion about how do we promote and incorporate all these factors into this wellness model where we are keeping people healthy rather than kind of fixing them when they're already broke, right? So how do we embrace wellness? Well, there's different answers to that, different ways. I have been providing resources about mindset, about spirituality, about mental health, essential oils, all these different tools, diet and lifestyle for sure, physical movement, maintaining a positive outlook, value systems, all of these things, being part of your community. This is wellness that we can work on. Maybe someone isn't getting physically better because they're lonely or they don't have a sense of purpose. And no matter how many pills or potions or supplements they take, if that isn't addressed, their body's under a constant state of stress, right? So we need to look at all of these aspects. And in an upcoming video and article, I'm going to go through different resources that are going to look more about in kind of the overlooked areas of wellness and health, right? So some non-conventional ways to have more wellness into 2022. So look for that. In the meantime, I'd love to hear your feedback on this. I want to know if you're a fellow New Yorkian. I don't even know if that's a word, but if you're in New York, if you're enjoying the 16-degree weather. I am fleecing up because it is freezing here, but I can't complain, I'm in New York. And I'd also love for you to check out my website. I'd love for you to see if some of my courses, right now I have an essential oil course, would help you achieve more optimal emotional and physical health. And if you aren't part of my essential oils or my wellness community and on my mailing list, I would love for you to join me and also to join me on social media so we can keep in touch and continue on with these conversations. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this topic on what is health. I hope it gets you thinking as we approach the new year, how you can support your overall health and wellness. And I hope to see you really soon. Take good care.